It's a great privilege and an honor today to speak to you, especially considering our environment, our political environment, the issues of governance, the role of creatives, and the role of the youth in making sure that we chart a path forward for our continent and our people. It doesn't take much for anybody to recognize the times in which we are. It's a time of great promise, but a time of also great challenges. Our continent right now is going through a transition. We have the highest number of youth. At the same time too, we are also plagued with a lot of issues when it comes to the sub-region, even in West Africa, where we've seen democratic institutions that have been built over years now undergoing a lot of challenges because some of the promise that most of us expected from institutions and democratic institutions for our development, a lot of times we've found those promises have fallen short of the possibilities. And so we are now at a stage where most people are questioning whether the path for our continent should be democracy or the path for our continent should be situations where we have absolute leaderships that don't obey democratic principles. But we know that the path forward is for everybody to have the opportunity to be able to articulate their view, to be able to contribute meaningfully to the advancement of our continent. So this brings us also to the creative community, which I have been a big part of. As a UN Goodwill Ambassador and musician, I've used my role constantly to advocate for the continent, constantly to also address issues of misgovernance that have been going on around the continent, social issues that we all feel ultimately would lead to elevating all of us. So I also want to appeal to all of you because creativity is not only the realm of musicians and artists, creativity is the realm of all of us. It's through our creativity, our God-given power to reimagine the paradigm that is going to help us also to create a new Africa that will be something that generations will look up to and emulate. So for the creative sector, we know that you can use your voice, your influence, the ability to articulate the things that you have a unique insight into, to engage people into action, to engage people to speak truth to power, to engage people to address systemic issues that we feel ultimately will help us strengthen the institutions that are required for us to move forward. I know that addressing the issue of misgovernance trends that affect a lot of creatives in Africa requires a multifaceted approach involving policy reforms, institutional support, capacity building, collaboration among stakeholders, and I just want to reiterate just a few areas where I feel that we can really be able to address these issues and make creativity an integral part of our way forward. First of all, when we look at policy reforms and advocacy, it's important to establish cultural policies, and advocate for the creation of implementation of clear cultural policies that recognize and support the creative industry as a vital contributor to economic and social development. We also need to strengthen the areas of intellectual property rights, ensure that robust enforcement of intellectual property laws to protect the rights of creatives and encourage innovation. Also, advocating for fair funding, push for increased government funding and subsidies for the arts, ensuring that the funds are fairly distributed and accessible to a diverse range of creatives. And then, apart from that, to the institutional support, creatives can advocate for the establishment of government agencies or departments specifically focused on the development of the creative sector. ensuring they are well-funded and staffed with knowledgeable professionals. Also, improving governance structures, promotion of transparency, accountability, and good governance within cultural institutions and agencies. Implementing anti-corruption measures to ensure resources are effectively used for this mission. And then capacity training, which is an important part, because to implement training and mentorship programs for creatives is of great importance to enhance skills in areas such as business management, marketing, and digital technologies. Promotion of arts education in schools, especially in the curriculums, both within Africa and abroad. Access to finance and resources. Creatives and activists can also use their talent and their influence to preach on social issues, especially establishing, access to grants, low interest loans, investment funds, which are specifically targeted at the creative sector. Encouraging public-private partnerships and increase in funding opportunities for creatives. Investing in infrastructure such as cultural centers, performance spaces, art galleries to give creatives the physical resources they need to showcase their work. And also good governance practices. Creatives can also, use their environment to also inspire policy-making processes to ensure their voices are heard and the voices of the youth and their needs are addressed in the vision of formulating the national agenda. Also, to establish mechanisms for monitoring and evaluating the impact of policies and initiatives on the creative sector, allowing for adjustments and improvements whenever we see that those are needed. And then we can also be able to use the creative sector and our platform to also encourage and foster regional cooperation among African countries to share best practices, pool resources, and create larger markets for creative products. Seek international support, leveraging international support from organizations, NGOs, and foreign governments for funding, training, and capacity building initiatives. And then market development exposure to help creatives access both local and international markets by organizing trade fairs, exhibitions, and festivals, support participation in global events, and then leveraging of the digital technology and the innovations that are going on around the world to also help creatives to be able to amplify and also utilize their work purposefully to ensure that we create an environment that will strengthen democracy and will also ensure that we have our eye on misgovernance issues that are going on around the continent. And then ultimately to public awareness. Public awareness campaigns to highlight the importance of the creative industry, our cultural heritage, and its importance in national development, and also its importance in governance. Promoting cultural festivals and events that celebrate the rich diversity of African art and culture, fostering national pride and appreciation. We know that by adopting a holistic approach that combines policy reforms, institutional support, capacity building, and collaboration, it is possible to create a more supportive environment for creatives in Africa, enabling creatives to thrive and contribute to the continent's cultural and economic development. Because in the long run, Africa is the continent of culture. So many, over 2,000 tribes, languages. So our power lies in our ability to be able to utilize this innate ability, not only to inspire our people, but also to ensure that we create a harmonious, peaceful environment that strengthens the institutions of democracy, that will in the long run help all of us flourish and ultimately create that Africa that we can all be proud of. Taking advantage of our leadership when it comes to youth population, land, music, and every aspect of it. This generation is an African generation, but it is up to us to make sure that that happens. I stand right now at the crossroads of time, at the crossroads of history, addressing all of you that we can do this. Yes, we can. We are that generation that has been called for to make that happen. One Africa for all of us, stable Africa, a democratic Africa, an Africa that uplifts all, an Africa that stands as a beacon to inspire the entire human family. Thank you very much. May God bless us all in this endeavor.